Hello there everybody, Sabanai 2AK Nightmare, and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Justice for All. In the last episode, we conducted the next part of our investigation, got to meet Acro, and learned the history about what the tragedy was. His brother being in a coma. I got the joke about Acro, Bat, I got it. But I've already developed a sort of theory about what's going on here. Possibly. Whether it was intentional or it was an accident, I think I've already got a good idea of why the lion bit down on his brother's head. And I think it has something to do with the pepper. They made the detail that he was wearing a scarf around him whenever he had had his head bitten down on. Now, the idea of a lion smiling before it chomps down, it makes no sense to me, unless you look at it from a different perspective. There's been one detail that has been goddamn confusing for me, and I've been trying to figure out the reason for it, and it's been that damn bottle of pepper. Pepper makes you sneeze. Usually your face will scrunch up. So, here's what I'm thinking. Whoever gave him that scarf, or whoever gave... Okay, from what I understand, Regina gave him the scarf. So, that means two things. Whoever Regina got it from spiked it with pepper, or Regina herself did it. However, there's no motivation for that. I'm not entirely sure. The only one that seems to have a... Fuck, I can't even think of anybody that would have a motivation to do something that horrid. But, since this is a mystery, I still have to put it into context. I have to actually tackle this like a mystery. I have to put personal feelings aside, so I have to suspect everyone. So, if that's the case, by process of elimination, there's no reason why Acro would hurt his own brother. So, that leaves two major suspects. Okay, maybe three, if you count, Ben and Triloquist. Actually, technically, that would be four. No, it's three! He's not a real person! He's a goddamn puppet! It's Regina. Or, I don't want to think this, Mo. There was that little scene that we had where Mo did put pepper on a burger. Just saying. Now, let's do this. December 30th, 9:41 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 5. Good morning, Max.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, sweeties.
You don't seem like your usual sparkling self today.
I'm always like this before I go in front of an audience. I'm working up to it.
Oh, hi, Regina. Don't get nervous, Moxie. Here, have a glass of milk. Regina!
How fabulous! My sweetie pie princess. You came to watch my performance today?
Of course I did. Mo told me that I should come and watch this. Mo said that? See, now that's adding more suspicion to Mo. So, what kind of performance will you put on today? Let me guess, you'll fly at the end?
It's not that kind of show. Isn't that right, my sweeties?
Huh?
I think my sweetie pie princess doesn't...
Yeah, she doesn't seem to realize what's going on. Or even where she is. Well, Max, it looks like it's time to raise the curtain. I'll see you later. Today I'm just a member of the audience.
Fabulous! Enjoy yourself out there.
Good luck, Max. You're the best. Regina's different, don't you think, Nick? Top of the morning to ya!
Everybody, let's get ready to get stuck in legal limbo. How low can you go?
Mo.
Top of the morning to ya, governor.
Top of the morning?
That's the ticket. Attacking the day starts with energy in the morning.
Considering I'm doing this in the morning, I needed energy, so that's why I got coffee.
The early bird gets the worm, but then again, worms lack higher brain function. Here, Max, I brought you a present. Have some milk. What?
Oh my. Thanks.
That's 2 people that have brought him milk.
So how are you today, Wright?
Well, I've got the feeling that today I'm gonna face off against the real culprit.
You mean Acro? Huh? You think he did it? Be careful. He's used to putting his life on the line. Literally. He's got guts to spare.
If all I've got to worry about is how thin the tightrope is, I'm used to it already. It just means that I won't be able to press him like I can other witnesses.
What are you going to do then, Nick? God damn it, again?
Guess today we'll just have to do without our usual psychological warfare. Today, we rely on evidence. It's the only way we'll get past Acro and to the truth. Okay, so I can't pressure the witness. Great.
You're right, but it's gonna be tough. Anyways, I want you to make sure that Regina sees it all today. It's important. Then she'll finally have to deal with the reality of what happened to her father.
Huh.
You want us to make sure Regina watches? Yes. That's why I brought her here to court today.
What's that supposed to mean?
She needs to know that when people die, they don't just become stars. I may be an old-fashioned clown, but I don't believe in people becoming stars.
Jesus. Okay, final theories. Okay. Oh boy, okay. He is dead set on trying to get Regina to face reality right now. So that adds a layer of suspicion to him. But the fact that he's also trying to say that it might be Acro, even though he was incredibly vehement that it was Max, something's not right about how Mo's tackling this.
All right. Court is now in session for the trial of Maximilian Galactica. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
Very well. Miss Von Karma, you may proceed with your case. The prosecution would like to revise its previous theory of events. What's the meaning of this? We have discovered a new witness, or shall I say, a new eyewitness. One that saw Maximilian Galactica fly off from the scene of the crime. Oh boy. Order! Order! I had a feeling something like this would come up. I'm dealing with the karma. I'm not even surprised by this point. Do you want to be whipped? Fuck you. Due to this revision, we are now prepared to explain how the defendant flew that night. An explanation the prosecution will present if the need so arises. In fact, my detective stayed up all night creating a mock-up of the scene on my orders.
You have no idea how long I worked on that. I barely got any sleep.
Poor Gumshoe.
You're goddamn right.
Very well. Please call your witness to the stand.
Time to get to work. Or shall I say, time to walk the courtroom tightrope. Hello? Oh, that's nice.
Name and occupation.
Ken Dingling, but everyone calls me Acro. Oh, by the way, Dingling, the Ringling brothers. Yeah, I didn't get that. I'm an idiot. I'm employed as an acrobat at the Very Big Circus.
Where were you the night of the crime?
I was in my room that night.
If you look at the map, you'll see the witness's room is near the crime scene.
My room is on the 3rd floor. The crime scene is below my window.
The night of the crime, the witness saw something quite shocking. Would you tell us what you witnessed?
Okay.
Simple. Here we go.
It was just after 10 p.m., and I was resting in my bed. Around that time, I heard a large thump noise from outside the window. That's where he saw the silhouette. Which again, I'm still of the idea, like, I got a basic idea of what we're gonna be doing here. Mostly because we saw, okay, you know what, I'm gonna bring this up here real quick, just while I've got you guys here. There is a very distinct possibility that Max's bust could have easily been used to, you know, fake, possibly. I don't know. I'm just starting to think that this bust might be a very pivotal part in this entire thing. That would explain why people kept assuming it was Max G. Then, a few moments later, I saw someone flying right by my window. It was Max Galactica. I only saw him from behind, but that's who it looked like. To be honest, when I saw that, I thought I was dreaming. Okay.
This witness's testimony matches up exactly with that of the clown. If that's the case, there is very little the prosecution need to add. All that's left is to explain how the defendant disappeared into the sky that night. Fuck off! Oh, I mean, technically, yeah. Before we get that far, I'd like to cross-examine the witness. A foolish choice by a foolish fool who wishes to feel the foolish sadness of a sad fool. Fool must be your favorite word. Excalibur. A man must know the proper timing for things, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Just like your old friend, Mr. Miles Edgeworth did. Mr. Wright, do you have a problem with the witness's testimony?
In the words of Miss Von Karma, may I quote yesterday's proceedings? There's no way that actually happened.
Very well. You may proceed with your cross-examination.
Okay. Am I allowed to press him? I'm testing it. You said that you were resting in bed. One would thus assume that you turned the lights off in your room, correct? That's correct. But there are safety lights around the outside of the lodging house. It's so bright, sometimes it can make it hard to sleep.
Well, if that's the case, wouldn't it be a good idea to close some curtains?
Oh, his birds. That's probably why he doesn't close the curtains, I think. I never really thought of that. I guess that means I'm off to buy some curtains. Oh, never mind. I thought you just literally... Oh, okay. Never mind.
Sometimes I do make myself useful in these chambers. I'm doing good. Ow! The witness will proceed with his testimony.
Oh, thank God I didn't get punished. Okay, so I can press him. Okay. Your room is on the 3rd floor, right? Yes. And you said that you were resting in bed? That is correct. But you were still able to hear a sound from outside? I was indeed. Pressing acro doesn't seem to get results. But maybe something was contradictory in what he just said just now. I don't think there was. I mean, it just seemed like rather normal, so I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
What's the matter, Mr. Wright?
Nothing, Your Honor. Until I can find a clear contradiction, I should tread lightly. Interesting, that was kind of like a weird little trick there. I bet you if I tried to press for a contradiction, because like I said, I couldn't necessarily think of anything that was actually bad with that testimony. Or at least that little addition. There was literally, it didn't seem like there was a contradiction in it. So part of me thinks that if I tried to go further, I probably would have been punished. Are you sure it was a human being? It could have been a mannequin or perhaps a large action figure. Hey!
Well, setting aside the possibility of a mannequin, an action figure is plausible.
You have no need to mince words with Mr. Phoenix Wright. Testify to the truth and only the truth, just as if we were there with you that night.
Except whenever it suits your freaking uses, you jackass.
I believe it was a human.
Damn! I just strengthened his testimony. I wonder if Akro's statement jives with the facts. Again, there is nothing wrong with this.
What's the matter, Mr. Wright?
Nothing, Your Honor. Huh. It was Max Galactica. I only saw him from behind, but that's who it looked like. Hold it! The light in your room was turned off then, right?
That's true. I was going to bed, after all.
So, with the lights off, you were still able to clearly see a human fly by your window.
The safety lights lit things up enough for me to see. But honestly, there was only enough light for me to see the silhouette outside my window. It was the person's back, so I couldn't see the white roses on the front.
Did you see any of the other symbols?
I clearly saw the silk hat, as well as the cloak wrapped around his body.
See, there's a problem though. The silk hat was left at the crime scene. How could you see the silk hat if it was specifically left at the crime scene? Granted, there's a bit of a problem with this already, because you also have to think of the possibility that maybe the hat fell off after the flight and all that. However, I'm leaning toward the idea that this might actually be a contradiction that I can counter here. The silk hat was found at the crime scene. If he flew off, why would he leave the hat behind? If I didn't know any better, I would assume that the hat was planted there. That's what I'm thinking.
I clearly saw the silk hat as well as the cloak wrapped around his body. I'm convinced that the person I saw was Max Galactica.
The more I press him, the less results I seem to get. But maybe there was something fishy with his latest bit of testimony. There is! There's a huge contradiction with the testimony that was just given.
Objection!
If there's a contradiction, then prove it with evidence. She's right. Let's see some evidence. Do you have any evidence to support your claim of a contradiction? This.
Take that!
Yeah.
You claim to have seen the exact same thing Mo saw that night. Do you stand by that?
What do you mean?
The silk hat.
What about the silk hat? I saw it on Max's head as he flew by my window.
Well, you should have tried looking down out of your window that night.
That would have been quite difficult considering the state that I'm in. Just looking outside of the window was a tough enough challenge for me.
That's a shame, because you would have noticed the silk hat found on the scene.
That's the ringmaster's hat, right?
Afraid not. No matter how you look at it, this is Max's silk hat.
Where are you going with this, Mr. Wright? Are you saying that Max had 2 silk hats?
No, I'm pretty sure that this hat was custom made. Therefore, there's only one. Yep. No. This is a handmade, one-of-a-kind model made only for Maximilian Galactica. Which means Akro You've been fibbing on the stand!
Order! Order! As always, it looks like someone just had to open their mouth before thinking. Are you okay, Nick?
Well, I opened my big mouth and now I have to back it up.
How about it, Mr. Wright? What would cause this witness to commit perjury in this court today?
Okay, think about this for a second. Just think about this. Okay. So I really have to think about this for a second. Acro is dreaming, that's just stupid. I don't know what kind of grudge that he would have against Max. Like, I gotta think about this. From his testimony, it didn't necessarily seem like he was hostile towards Max. If anything, he's really hostile towards Regina. So, if I had to gander a guess, the logical conclusion would be that Acro is the real culprit. I mean, let's look at the things here. He would probably blame the ringmaster. He does blame the ringmaster and possibly Regina for what happened to his brother, and he has every right to think that. However, we still don't know the entire truth of what really happened to his brother, who was responsible for it. Regina could easily just be innocent. So, realistically, the one character in this story so far that has a legitimate motive, okay, maybe not legit, but has a realistic motive to want to kill the ringmaster is Acro. A brother's fury has no, or I'm sorry, a sibling's fury has no bounds. So, Your Honor, on this occasion, the defense accuses Acro himself.
On this occasion? Accuses Acro? What in the world are you accusing him of?
Obviously, we accuse him of the murder of Mr. Russell Berry.
Mr. Wright, are you serious?
Deadly serious, Your Honor.
I think your trips to the circus have served you well. You seem to have learned how to try and grab at an audience's hearts and minds. Your Honor, don't allow yourself to be swayed by theatrics. Trying to wow the crowd with smoke and mirrors is the oldest bluff in the book. Wait, really? I didn't know that. If you don't believe me, just look at the witness. He's calm enough for it to be almost be scary.
He's staying rather calm and collected, and this frickin' woodpecker's poking my forehead!
Mr. Dingling, do you have any response to the defense's accusation?
I don't really need to say a thing, do I?
What do you mean?
Everyone, take a good look at me. I can't even stand up by myself, let alone leave the lodging house.
Well, that is true.
I understand that Mr. Wright is just trying to help his client. But to do this by accusing me of a murder of all things...
Don't play the victim, Acro! In a way, you're kind of making yourself look a little guilty. I realize, I hate the idea of trying to implicate somebody that's been hurt, but goddamn, man.
See? Even a sliver of common sense makes it clear the accusation is ludicrous.
When it comes to justice, you have to look at and eliminate every possibility. It's not guilty until proven innocent, it's innocent until proven guilty. If there are factors that make it to where Acro could possibly be guilty, we have to eliminate or at least tackle those things. I don't want him to be guilty, for God's sake. But until he's 100% innocent, we gotta do this thing. She's right! Way to pick on the disabled, you heartless, cruel man! Fuck you, random faceless person!
Phoenix is a poopy head.
Who allowed that child in the courtroom?
See that, Mr. Phoenix Wright? If you're trying to drum up support from the peanut gallery, that's how you do it. I think that's enough of this little game. I've got a doctor's note to confirm that Acro is unable to stand under his own power. Maybe the defense is planning on making a claim to counter this as well. I can hear the defense now. Acro had an accomplice. What do you say about this, Mr. Wright? Did Acro have an accomplice?
No, I mean... No, it can't be him. No, he can't have an accomplice. I mean, there's nobody in the circus, I think, that's willing to assist him in murder. At least, I mean, if you look at Triloquist, he might actually be a possibility, but... No. I don't think he had an accomplice. I mean... If you think about it, his position on the 3rd floor is a great place to hoist up and make the statue appear as if it's floating. I say statue because I'm still on the idea that it's the bust. Okay. I guarantee he probably has like a shit ton of upper body strength. So he's probably able to hold or do stuff like that despite his disability. So, I don't think he had an accomplice. I think he... See, oh, God damn it. Okay, just think about this. Okay, just one step at a time.
Now then, this must be when we get to hear the name of the mystery accomplice. Not this time, Von Karma. What?
You're not gonna sucker me into this one.
What are you blabbering about, Mr. Wright?
There was no accomplice. Acro planned and committed this murder all by himself.
Oh boy! Order!
What are you getting at?
Way to keep them on their toes, Nick.
Now I'm going to have to prove how it all fits together. I have to show how Acro murdered Russell Berry.
Can you do it, Nick? Can you really do that?
I know what I can't do. I can't stop now. If I stop attacking, I'm doomed.
Alright, then let's do it. Mr. Phoenix Wright, if this witness is the killer, then his eyewitness account is all lies, right? Mr. Wright, I'd like you to clear something up for me. The crime was committed exactly where was Mr. Dingling?
Well, obviously he was in his room. I mean, that's pretty obvious. He was in his room. Anyway, he was obviously here the entire time. That's Acro's room. I mean, if you think about it, there is another way that this could have played out. If he had access to this... Wait, how heavy is the bust? That bust might actually be that bust might actually be the murder weapon itself. If you think about it, something that heavy, depending on how heavy it is, falling from that sort of height would cause severe blunt force trauma. Again, depending on how heavy it is. Dropping it down on somebody's head? That takes some practice. So that's what I'm thinking. That's Acro's room. Pretty simple, eh? Acro wasn't able to leave the lodging house by himself. In that case, there can only be one correct answer. Acro didn't leave his room to kill the ringmaster.
What? Are you nuts? What say you, Mr. Dingling?
It's an interesting theory.
Huh? That's it?
Considering that what you propose is impossible, yes, that's it.
Huh. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor?
As the witness has stated, your assertion is impossible. As he is in a wheelchair, there is no way he could go to the scene or be the killer.
Huh. You got a point.
It seems you've forgotten once again, Mr. Phoenix Wright. The defendant was clearly spotted at the scene of the crime. That's true. Mo said that he saw Max, didn't he?
But Maya, it's still impossible for humans to fly.
Do you mind if I ask a question, Mr. Wright?
What is it?
I understand some of your logic. However, how do you think that I killed him? If I can't leave my room, I obviously couldn't wear Max's costume.
How did he do it? That's the next course of this legal buffet. A legal buffet, there's an idea.
Be careful, Nick, if you mess up here.
She's right. I can't mess up here. I've got to give this one some serious thought. I'm sure that Acro killed the ringmaster, and he did it while he was in his room. No doubt about it.
Time to enlighten us as to how Mr. Dingling committed the crime, Mr. Wright.
Okay. I gotta think about this for a second here. Okay. I really have to think about this. I am legitimately, I'm convinced that this is the method. If he had the string attached, he had to have a powerful string to do that. But then again, it's probably the same string even used to use for Max G's flying tricks anyway. He had the string around Max G's bust. He dropped it from that height. He had to aim it properly. That caused severe blunt force trauma, killing the ringmaster over his box. Using this method, it would also explain how there was no footprints in the snow. So I think, if I'm correct on this, I'm going to present the Max G bust. I'm gonna present some evidence.
So, what did Mr. Dingling use to commit the crime of murder against Russell Berry?
This heavy motherfucker!
What's that? A picture? I'm pretty sure a picture does not work on blunt force trauma.
No, that's not what I meant. You know what, never mind, Judge. Yeah, sure, that's exactly what I meant. He used a picture to do it. It is indeed. The problem is with the item that's shown in the picture.
The bust?
It's quite a large bust, and because it is life-sized, it is also very, very heavy. Heavy. Heavy enough to guarantee a certain death. Especially if it was dropped from a third-story window. See? This is how Acro was able to kill the ringmaster. With the force of gravity and Maximilian Galactica's ample bust. Oh my. Not that way.
Order! Order! So you're saying the bust fell onto the ringmaster?
A rather simple crime. Even if you were stuck in a wheelchair, it would be incredibly easy to commit.
How could you possibly wheel a wheelchair with something so heavy? It's impossible!
Well, Acro is an acrobat. He should have more than enough upper body strength to carry something like the bust.
Mr. Dingling, how do you respond to these charges?
Well,
Acro's at a loss for words.
He should be. He knows that I'm getting close to the truth. Well, Acro. You can't. Ow!
I'd watch what I say if I were you, Mr. Phoenix Wright.
What?
Your Honor, the physical health of the witness is material to this case. I demand that we get proper testimony from the witness himself. Testimony, you say?
Von Karma. She's just using this testimony as a ruse to stall for time. There is absolutely no need for such testimony.
The defense has its version of the murder. The prosecution has the right to respond. The defense's objection is overruled.
Why can't he see things my way once in a while? Because I'm the protagonist, goddammit. That's why.
Mr. Dingling, I'm sorry, but we need you to testify about your physical condition. If you have any doubts about your ability to testify, we can request expert testimony. The witness will have no problems. However, let's all be respectful towards him.
Thank you.
That woman will sink to any low to win a case. Because unfortunately, like an actual prosecutor, like a real prosecutor would try to aim toward the truth, despite, this prosecutor, dear God, she just wants to win. There's legitimately no, God. Okay, I gotta think about, okay.
I suppose I could have lifted something the size of that bust. I have a strong upper body from working as an acrobat, and only my legs were injured.
And again, usually those that have disabilities or they lose the ability of like some sort of sense, whether it's something like sight, smell, or just the inability to use certain parts of their body, usually the rest of their body will immediately compensate, which is why, despite the fact that his legs don't work, his upper body strength must be immense.
However, lifting the bust and looking out of the window would have been impossible. There's no way I could have exerted that kind of force on my lower body. That makes it impossible for me to have known the location of the ringmaster's head. Thus, it would be unrealistic for me to drop the bust on him. Don't you think?
Okay. Actually, I don't know.
I have my doubts in regards to this witness testimony.
I have no doubts, sorry.
It is impossible for him to lift the bust and stick himself out far enough to look. Not to mention that he could not have known the location of the ringmaster's head.
Well, give me a second. How the hell could he have known where the ringmaster's head was going to be? Like, this is, like, incredibly specific here. Okay, maybe not, specific is not the word I'm looking for. It's, This seems like it'd have to be an incredibly luck-based sort of thing. If he can't look out the window at the same time that he's possibly I mean, I don't know if it's possible or not, but I'm just wondering how the hell... I don't know.
A single false step would have led to even more severe injuries. That's what I was thinking. What is your opinion on the matter, Mr. Wright?
I'd still like to proceed with my cross-examination.
He's simply stalling. It's shameful, really.
I can't let her get to me. I've got to focus. Okay, here we go. Have you ever lifted up the bust before?
No, I've never actually lifted it up with my own two hands. But I should get to it, don't you think? I can't let money outdo me on this.
Huh? Money? That crazy monkey has lifted Max's bust before? Interesting.
Please continue with your testimony, Mr. Dingling.
That's some interesting information. So, what have you been doing to keep in shape?
Well, honestly, I've given up on training. I don't have any plans to return to the trapeze or the tightrope.
You don't say.
But, no offense, I'm not worried about losing to you in a race or anything.
God. Neither am I, Mr. Phoenix Wright. I wasn't talking to you. I wouldn't lose either, Slowpoke. I mean, Nick. Maya!
Whoa! How did the discussion turn to me all of a sudden?
I suppose you could say that I'm stronger than the average bear.
God damn it. That's actually impressive, though. And why is that?
Because if I were to do that, I'd end up falling out the window myself. I still haven't gotten much feeling back in my legs yet.
So you couldn't have thrown that bust out of the window.
Huh. How long do you think your recovery will take?
You have to remember that my nerves are severely damaged. I'm currently undergoing some extremely intensive rehabilitation, but it's still going to take a while before I'm back to 100%.
Let me remind you of another very important point. If the witness was carrying the bust, he would not be able to see out below the window.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Why do you say it would be impossible?
Allow me to explain. You accept that if I was carrying the bust, I couldn't see out below the window. Thus, there is no way that I would know the location of the ringmaster's head.
Well, I suppose you've got a point.
Hey, Nick?
Huh?
What if you turn things around? Maybe think of it sort of like this. If he knew the location of the ringmaster's head, then he could drop the bust.
That does make sense. But how would he know the... How would he know the location of the ringmaster's head, though? Okay. Oh! Wait a minute. I think I have an idea. It's a bit flimsy, but... Did the ringmaster carry the box out there, or was the box already sitting out at the crime scene? Now, I'm not entirely sure if this is correct. Like, the other idea I had was maybe there were like some sort of mirrors, but I'm pretty sure we would have found mirrors or something like that kind of at the crime scene, but this is a stretch here, so... Okay. What if the box was placed specifically? So, as soon as he was aware that the ringmaster was near the box, maybe that's when he knew to drop the... But then how the hell would he know that the ringmaster was there at the... if the box was already placed there? Okay, Okay, so if he planted the box there, okay, then if that was the case, maybe he looked out the window first, and then as soon as he was aware that the ringmaster was there in front of the box, then he dropped the bust. That might also explain why the ringmaster slumped over the box so effectively here. That's the big... It's a hell of a stretch, but it does make sense. If only I could prove somehow that Acro knew the location of the ringmaster's head without looking down.
I think I've already explained things sufficiently.
If all he had to do was drop it, then it wouldn't have been a problem at all.
If all I had to do was drop it. You're right, I could have done that. However, there is no way that I could land a direct hit on the ringmaster's head.
So that kind of makes your theory a bit pointless, doesn't it, Mr. Wright?
Acro is strong enough to lift up the bust.
The main problem is how he could have aimed for the ringmaster's head.
Huh. I wonder if he used some kind of tool to aim for the ringmaster. Oh! Maybe it really was the box.
That's the ticket, Nick. Show them what you got.
Have to be careful. Have to find something that fits perfectly with the case.
I don't remember us finding any sort of tool. But maybe we overlooked something.
Well, again, I'm thinking it might actually be the box, but here's the question, where do I... maybe this one? Okay. Oh, wait. Give me a second. I want to make sure I do this correctly. Alright, I'm going to take a gander. I feel like if the box was already placed there, then he would already know the location of the box. So as long as he knew the location of the box, he could time it properly and then drop the bust on top of the ringmaster's head. I think. That is literally the only way I could possibly think of this.
No, it was the pepper. He knew the pepper was over there. All he had to do was smell it.
I think I'm right. I think I'm right. Acro. You didn't really need to lean out of the window, did you?
What are you driving at, Mr. Wright?
You already knew ahead of time where the ringmaster's head was going to be. Quite precisely, I may add.
Your silly hinting at things is pointless, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Enough stalling! How about you show us some evidence? Hey, bash your fist. Do it again. Do it again. Thank you.
But I did such a good job hinting.
Yes. Hurry up and explain things, Mr. Wright. I'm getting excited.
The fuck, man? Maybe you should take a look at this. Okay, I was right to look at that. The key point is here. Here is the wooden box.
The same wooden box that the victim was found hunched over.
The same. The question is, who placed the wooden box here?
Who?
When Ben and company saw the ringmaster, they didn't see him holding the box. I do remember that. So that would mean that the box was placed there beforehand. Which means that this wooden box was already placed at the scene of the crime.
I have to admit that your theory makes a lot of sense.
The moment that the bust came falling down was exactly the same moment that the ringmaster lifted up this wooden box. Which means that the answer to all these questions is now crystal clear.
You mean... If the bust were to fall upon the point marked out by the wooden box,
there would be no way that it could miss the head of the victim.
No! Yeah. Order! This is unbelievable.
Finally! Some of these loose ends are starting to tie themselves up. Now I just gotta keep going, and there's only one way to go from here. Forward.
So the next question I have is, who placed that wooden box at the scene?
It was Mr. Dingling, of course. He connected it to a rope, and then all he had to do was lower it down.
Ow! Okay, allow me to whip some sense into you. Mr. Phoenix Wright. The ringmaster's head could have been anywhere when he lifted the box.
That's why the box is so specially made.
Specially made?
Indeed. It had the most peculiar Well, not the size, or the weight. It was the contents, which all it had was a bottle of pepper. Do you recall what was inside the wooden box?
There was only a small bottle of pepper, wasn't there? Get on with it! Well... What's the matter? Cat got your tongue?
Was I wrong?
I don't see any relationship between the location of his head and the box's contents.
I think I may have outthought myself.
No, Nick, you didn't think enough. Mr. Wright, do you still maintain the box had some sort of special feature?
Indeed. It had the most peculiar... Okay, so I was wrong. Okay, so... What's so special about this box, aside from the bottle of pepper? See, the two details that pop up here is that it's 20 pounds and it has a small but strong lock. Technically, wait a minute. I'm seeing a parallel here. Maximilian has his 3 features. This wooden box also has 3 features. 20 pounds, a strong lock, and pepper. Okay, so... I guess the weight? The box has a remarkable weight.
Weight? According to the court record, it weighs 20 pounds.
Just to lift up this wooden box would have required...
Oh, I see. One would have to squat down and lift it up with their body, wouldn't you say?
That's exactly what I was trying to point out. The box is also very large.
The box also has carrying handles on either side, doesn't it?
That is correct. To lift up the box, you'd have to squat down. Okay, I'm gonna say I'm really happy I didn't get punished for that fuck up there. Which means that no matter who you are, your head would be in approximately the same place. Fool! You're calm. You're very calm. Does he even bother to listen to me anymore?
I've heard what you've had to say.
Huh?
I must admit, I'm shocked at your imaginative skills.
Did you do it? Did you place this wooden box in the plaza?
Mr. Wright may have a vivid imagination, but I could never have done what he's proposing.
What?
Mr. Wright, do you recall the original location of Max's bust?
Yeah, it was in the cafeteria. Of course I remember. It was on top of the table in the cafeteria.
Then what happened to it?
I'd like you to remember one important fact, Mr. Wright. I could not possibly leave the lodging house by myself.
That means...
You understand what I mean, don't you? I may very well have been able to drop the bust from my room. However, how would I have gotten the bust from the cafeteria to my room?
Well, you did make a little bit of a fuck up earlier. You stated that your monkey might have done it, aka money. That was an offhanded comment, but I remember it. You could have easily gotten money to do it. I'm not testifying a goddamn monkey, though. I'm not gonna cross-examine a monkey. That's gonna be goddamn weird. I've already cross-examined a parrot. I can't believe I have to say that out loud.
You see, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Explain that. Don't forget, you said there was no accomplice. Tell us exactly how the witness would have carried the bust from the cafeteria.
Yep, we definitely have a problem here. But this is no place to get perplexed. I've got to get my wits about me and prove how things happened once and for all.
All right, Mr. Wright, let's hear your explanation. How did the witness get the bust from the cafeteria back to his room?
Again,
Easy peasy, buddy. It's money.
that offhanded comment that he said earlier, I remember that. So there exists the possibility that this damn monkey did it. and he's good with animals, so... A monkey. Everyone knows Money. He loves shiny objects of any size.
Oh, like when he stole the ventriloquist's ring. So, are you saying are you saying the witness had a monkey steal the bust?
Of course he didn't order the monkey to steal it. The monkey stole it on his own and then brought it back home. Home? Money lives in Acro's room.
Acro's room?
But the bust was bronze, wasn't it? Bronze isn't all that shiny. Maybe you should put the whip down sometimes and read the court record.
It's very shiny.
My, those are some very nice cards he's holding. Yes, and they are made of platinum, which is very shiny. Oh shit, I didn't know that. Acro! Money is a strong monkey, right? It'd be easy for him to bring the bust back to your room.
If he wasn't able to handle that himself, I'd be on the market for a new roommate.
Damn. Order, order! I said order! Miss Von Karma!
Where is the bust in question at this moment?
I don't know.
We're searching for it as we speak. This is a rather strange turn of events. But let's say that the monkey had not stolen the bust. What would have happened then?
Well, in that event, something else would have been used as the murder weapon.
Wait. Then you mean this bust was the murder weapon purely by accident?
It's possible. Maybe Acro saw Money's mountain of stolen goods and thought to use one of them. Anyways, I think we've more than proven one critical fact. Namely, that it was entirely possible that Acro was the murderer. Moron! Purely by luck, too.
Mr. Wright's argument was so circular, I'm still a bit dizzy. However, his argument does hold water. There's no denying that. Ow! Don't seem so flamboozled, especially by this fraud of an attorney.
Fraud? I worked hard for that badge.
You've forgotten the absolute most important thing, Mr. Phoenix Wright.
And what is that? Motive?
You should know! You forgot that your fraud of a magical client was spotted at the scene of the crime. There is no reason to doubt the clown's testimony. That's true. How do you respond to that, Mr. Wright?
Again, wires, bitch.
Nick, don't let her beat you now.
I won't. This is my chance to turn this trial around.
When the murder occurred, there were two people at the scene of the crime. One was the victim, Russell Berry, and the other was the murderer himself. Answer this and only this, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Who was the murderer the clown saw?
You saw Max G's bust. I'm pretty sure that should be... Karma, this is fucking easy. Take that! They saw the bust.
Ow! I asked who was the other person Mo saw on the scene. That evidence has nothing to do with the question. Yeah, it does.
Au contraire, mon frère. It does indeed have something to do with the question.
You mispronounced that painfully.
Mo said that he saw Max's silhouette. But he did not actually see the man himself. It wasn't a human being he saw.
That's been my argument this whole fucking time!
How is that possible?
It's simple, really. What Mo actually saw that night was Max's bust.
What are you talking about? Have you tried using your brain at all in this case? The silhouette he saw was wearing a cloak.
There's no reason why you couldn't attach a cloak to the bust. It would be easy to hang one off of the cards in the bust's hands.
Idiot! Who in their right mind would put a cloak on a bust?
It doesn't matter who put it on the bust.
Just wait a moment now, Mr. Wright. God damn it, I'm trying to catch up. Who put the cloak on the bust? That question is of the utmost importance to this case, don't you agree?
Who would put the cloak on the bust? Wait a minute! Oh! It just clicked in my head. I just figured it out. The testimony from Ben was that Russell Berry left the office wearing the hat and the cloak. That means there's only one possible way that the bust could have gotten the cloak on. Oh. That would also explain why the hat was off, too.
Oh! He caught me. So let's have it, Mr. Wright. Who put the cloak on the bust?
That's gonna take me like 3 over here. Alright. There's only one person who could have been, considering Russell was the only one wearing that stuff. It can't be Ben because he was waiting at the entrance for Regina. Max was in Russell's office. Mo was in his room. Literally, the only one is Russell himself, because he was the one wearing it!
Fool! Him? You are saying it was the victim himself, Russell Berry?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, the victim himself placed the cloak on the bust.
Placed the cloak isn't really the right way of putting it.
Then what would be the right way of putting it, Mr. Wright? Explain yourself.
Nick, do you really have a handle on all of this?
I mean, if you think about it, if it was 1/4 strong, there was a possibility the cloak could have gone wrapped around the bus, just saying.
I'm fine, Maya. I'm finally putting all the pieces together. There's really only one picture I can paint anyways. Alright. So you want to know what really happened that night? Let's step back in time. Acro used a rope to lower the wooden box onto the scene. Then, he attached that rope to the bust, and dangled the bust out of his bedroom window directly above the wooden box. At the same time, the ringmaster told Max to wait in his room, and went to the scene. Of course, at the time, the ringmaster was wearing Max's costume. Perhaps he didn't want anyone to recognize him that night. But, just as he feared, he was spotted at the entrance of the lodging house by Ben. By none other than a ventriloquist and his puppet, Ben and Trillo. When the ringmaster arrived at the scene, he bent over to lift the wooden box. And that's when Acro took his chance and released the rope. Now, this is when the magic happens. At the very instant that the bust hit the victim, that actually makes sense.
You waited just a second there, Mr. Phoenix Wright. As much as you try, as much as you scheme, this just isn't true. It can't be.
It's still a little early to be getting so upset, Miss Von Karma. This circus isn't over yet.
What?
The impact of the bust on the victim threw the cloak up, which snagged onto the bust. That impact also caused the sound a certain witness heard, prompting him to take a look. That witness was, of course, Lawrence Mo Curls, the clown. When Mo looked out his window, the cloak had already snagged onto the bust. Now, having completed the crime, Acro naturally went about pulling up the murder weapon. Of course, he had no idea that Mo saw the bust being raised with the cloak dangling on it. Primarily because in his wheelchair, he couldn't see out of his window. So, he just kept pulling the bust up.
The illusion of light!
And that is how the magical murderer disappearing into the sky came to be.
You can't be fucking serious.
So you see, the only person who could have pulled this off is the one person who was able to drop the murder weapon from above the crime scene. Acro, it could only have been you!
Acro has been playing mind games with all of us.
He sure has. But he has come to the end of his rope now.
So?
What now?
You've graced us with a rather long-winded tale. But do you have any evidence to prove that your fairy tale is true? Evidence? In this court, only two things matter: the power of evidence and the power of my whip. No.
Don't forget the power of my gavel as well. I mean, yes, the power of your gavel is mighty, Lord Judge Man. Indeed.
I will not underestimate the power of your gavel, my good sir. Mr. Wright, the prosecution brings up a good point. Can we see some evidence?
Nick, they say they want evidence.
I just explained how there can only be one possible murder method. But there's still something unusual about Mo's eyewitness account.
Unusual?
A contradiction, actually.
Okay then, use that and get out of this jam.
Mo's testimony.
That's enough talking amongst ourselves. Proceed, Mr. Wright. Present some evidence to the court that backs your claims. I want hard proof that you have unraveled the trick to this magic case.
Oh boy. Okay. Well... let's see. There technically is proof, and the only thing I can think of is the fact that the silk hat was left at the crime scene. Because the bust already has, like, the, you know, it already has that, so... But I feel like I might get in trouble if I present this again. And if I back out, I'm probably going to get a game over or something like that. So... fuck it. If I'm wrong, I'll just... I don't know. Fuck it. Go with it. Just go with it. The problem is Max's three symbols. You know, the silk hat, the cloak, and the white roses.
Those symbols were a problem numerous times during yesterday's proceedings.
Yesterday, there were two contradictions in Mo's testimony.
The silk hat was one, the white roses were the other.
But the theory I just presented explains all of these contradictions.
You fool! Do you ever shut up?
No, it's kind of my job to talk, but okay. Max's silk hat was found at the scene of the crime. However, remember what Mo said yesterday. He testified that the criminal he saw fleeing the scene was wearing a silk hat. There's only one explanation for that. The silk hat that Mo saw was actually the bust's.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you look at it that way, then he did see the silk hat. Well, sort of. Fine, you got one, but what about the other contradiction? The other contradiction? Remember what that ventriloquist said in court. He said that he witnessed white roses on Max's chest that night. But the clown's testimony doesn't match. The clown said that there were no white roses. I'd like to see you try and explain that one away.
Can you do it, Nick?
Yeah.
Of course, I can explain all of it.
What was that?
Please recall the instant when the cloak snagged onto the bust. If the cloak snagged onto the bust, what happened to the white roses? They got covered up, from the way it looks. Do you get it yet? If the cloak got snagged onto the front of the bust, it means that the white roses would end up on the back of the bust. Which explains why Mo didn't see them. The white roses were not visible because they were on the back side of the bust. My head hurts. Order! Order! Good God. Holy fuck.
This is quite the shocking state of affairs. Mr. Wright's theory still sounds a bit absurd to me.
But hey, if I'm right, we just gotta find the motive, which... I don't know how long I've been recording, but I bet you the second part of this case is gonna be trying to figure out the motive, which means I'm finally gonna get to the bottom of why the fucking lion bit down on Bat's head. If I'm right.
However, let's just keep going down this road for a while and see where it leads.
Let's do this, Nick. Then maybe Von Karma will finally throw in the towel.
They're both smiling.
Well, so much for that theory.
Mr. Wright, do you mind?
What is it?
You took the time to research our circus, didn't you?
Well, yes, I did. Is there something making you think that I didn't?
If you did, then maybe you'll understand why I think you're off track.
Why is that?
Motive. This witness feels an incredible debt of gratitude towards the ringmaster. Anyone with any relation to the circus is well aware of this.
Yeah, but I've already got an idea for the motive, so...
Thus, there's absolutely no way someone like this would kill the ringmaster.
Au contraire, Miss Von Karma.
Your Honor, I'd like you to hear Acro's story. Learn about his relationship with the ringmaster and his life up until now.
What do we do? There's no doubting that Acro deeply respected the ringmaster.
Acro's motive.
It seems that this case isn't over yet. I like it when this shit happens. Very well. However, I feel like this is a good place to take a break. If you need to go save your progress, go right ahead. I will listen to the rest of Mr. Dingling's testimony after recess. This court will now take a 10-minute recess.
Yes, finally! Finally, I can finally look back into... Well, I want to explore the motive, goddammit. This is something that I've been dreading, but also really looking forward to doing.
Okay, so we've somehow set him up as the killer of the ringmaster. Now we just gotta explore the motive. And I'll do that in the next recording, so if you all like this, be sure to let me know. I'm probably gonna pick up the recording in maybe however long it takes after I finish doing yard work and mowing the lawn. Regardless, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see all of you guys in the next video.